Hey, what's going on YouTube? Dad with a bike, and today we're going to do a little how-to video on changing the fork seals on the forks for an Indian style bobber. One of mine blew, so I figured what the heck, I'll just change them both. And actually in hindsight, I did this video some time ago of me doing the Legends install. And at the time I inspected my fork seals and they looked fine. So I was like, meh, I just won't replace them. And lo and behold, I should have. Because things happen and the fork seal blew. No problem, they're easy to replace. I'm gonna walk you all through it. It's wicked easy, so super easy. So if you're interested, stick around. All right, y'all, thanks for sticking around. So as you can see by the garage, I have lots of things taken apart on the Indian Scout bobber. I had to get new tires, so while I was doing that, I was like, man, I'll go ahead and fix this blown seal, etc., etc. So bike's all taken apart. I've got the forks stripped. I've already done one fork to make sure that I knew it was easy. So we're now gonna go ahead and pull that other fork off, and we're gonna take it over here in my little stand, and then we'll do the work to break it down. It's quite simple. And also, while I'm at it, if y'all remember, I told you about another project that I'm working on. This is that project. It's a 1997 Porsche 986 Boxster. So we're working on this bad boy right now. Got a handful of things that need to be done with it. So I'm doing this, but I'm doing this with my daughter. She'll have her own channel. This is her car, so she's helping me work on it and rebuild it. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, let's jump to replacing the fork seal. Alrighty, y'all, so let's talk about the tools you're gonna need for this. You're gonna need one of these. This is a fork seal driver. You can use this for a couple things, kind of course, knock the seal down within the fork. And then it also will help you seat one of the rings that are in there as well. We'll walk through how to use this tool. And then you'll need a simple, tiny little flathead screwdriver. So with the tiny little flathead screwdriver, all you're gonna do is work around and pry this seal up. This is actually not a seal, my bad. It's a dust cover. So I'm gonna work around here, so I'm not doing this with two hands, but essentially all you gotta do is work around, pry this up. Once I get this up a little bit, I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when it starts to come up a bit. So be back in a second. Alrighty guys, so as it starts to come up, you'll see it kind of put a little space there that you can get your screwdriver in and just kind of pop it up. Be very careful when you do it so you don't like cut it or mar it, or you have to replace this. You can buy an entire fork seal kit, which includes a new dust cover, a new locking pin, and a bunch of other things. But all I have are the seals. So this right here just slides off the fork tube, boop, just like that. And then I don't know if you guys can see, but down inside there is a little pin. And let's see if I can do this with the flashlight in my mouth and holding the GoPro. So I'll show you where it is. So now we have the dust cover, which will keep the retaining pin, which we'll keep, and then I'm going to get a rag here in a little bit and I'm going to clean these things off. So I highly recommend you guys do it. Clean all this stuff off, and even clean down inside your fork. When I clean any of this stuff off, I use this stuff, which is a suspension cleaner. And the reason why I use something like a suspension cleaner is it dries completely and very, very fast. So I can spray all this on there, wipe it down, and it dries and it leaves zero residue. So this is great for cleaning suspension. Alrighty, y'all, so now what you see down inside there is the actual seal itself. And it is a very interesting way in which you get the seal out. And this sounds very rudimentary and very archaic, but really all you do to get the seal out is get a good hold of this sucker and you start banging until it comes out. Ta-da! Excelente. Okay, so what we've got is this assembly here. This is the actual seal itself. This is I don't know what the name of it is, but essentially it's to keep these washers intact and in there and protected from the fork seal. Sorry, I am a backyard mechanic, so I don't know the name for all the things, but I know what they do. Anyway, we're gonna take this seal off, this ring as well, and then this assembly as well. Clean them all up, clean the whole fork assembly up, all of it. And then that'll be that. And then we'll put it all back together, put the new seal on, and I'll show you how to reseat the seal. So we'll be back in a minute after I clean all this stuff up, and then we'll start reassembling. All right, everybody, so to disassemble, these truly just slide off. Nice and easy, so you don't mar up your forks or anything goofy. It's the seal. So a little retaining ring. And this is one of those little washers. The last one I'm going to leave on there because I just want to. You can probably take it off if you want, clean it better if you want. But you know, once I spray stuff on here and get this cleaned up, it'll look brand new. So anyway, that's as simple as taking it apart. And the only piece that we're replacing is actually this piece, which is the seal itself. So when we come back, I'll have this all cleaned up and we'll start to assemble. We'll be back in a second. All right, everybody, we have the stanchion tube itself, or the fork itself, stuck down inside the stanchion tube. Whoops. There. And then we're gonna assemble this stuff in reverse order. So the first thing that we need to put on is this little washer thing, and he's just gonna slide down. And he's gonna go in there, and he is not gonna fit nicely. So there's a couple ways in which you can get him pushed down in there. You can choose to use a screwdriver and tap it around. But boy, you better be very careful if you use a screwdriver. I'll start it actually with this, which is the seal driver. I'll just take it and drop it on there. And that gets it started. And then when you hear that metal on metal, you know it's starting to seat. And then what we'll do is when we actually go to seat the seal itself, the seal will help knock it the rest of the way in. So the seal will sit on top of it and bam, bam, bam. And then this little bad boy goes on. Just like that. And then our new seal goes on. And there's only one way to put the seal on. You can't really mess it up because it won't install if you do. But the way that I really know is that on the top of the seal, there's like, let me see if I can get you guys better lighting. There's like little writing on it. That's the top, that's the bottom. Okay, so it just goes over the top. You can oil this and grease this if you want. Totally up to you. There. So he's pseudo seated. Okay. Now comes the fun part again. Hammer away. I know it sounds very archaic, but that's what you have to do. Again, this heavy little fork seal driver is perfect. Bam. See? Now, that's not sealed. That's not on there all the way. I've got to bang it quite a bit. So, Give me a minute. I'll come back after I whack on this a couple times because I don't think anybody wants to hear me whacking on this thing. But all you're going to be doing is this action harder, and it'll seep that seal down inside the stanchion tube. So we'll be back in a second once I got it seated, and I will show you actually how you know it's seated. All right, it is now seated, and the only way in which you can tell that it's seated is there is a ring on the inside. It's an indented ring on the inside of the stanchion tube that the retaining clip fits in. So you can probably see it, maybe. You should be able to see it, I think you can. And that's where the retaining clip is gonna fit. So we're gonna put the retaining clip on right now. Okay, so remember this guy? This guy has to go on next. So he's the retaining clip. And he's gonna fit in there. And you gotta finagle him around till he catches. And then I'll move it around a little bit here so I can get at it with my screwdriver. And that largely is it. I think he is seated. We'll go around and poke at him a minute. Make sure that he is. He doesn't come out. Which it looks like he is all good and seated. And then the next thing we're gonna do is put on the dust cover, so we'll be back in just a second. Okie dokie, everybody. Time to put on the dust cover. Dust cover just slides right over the top, and he's gonna just snap kind of right back on in place. So you should be able to do this just with your thumb, and you can get it pressured on there pretty good. But just for shits and giggles, and because I like using this tool, I drop it on there a couple times. Make sure it's nice and squished in there. And there we go. All done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you replace your fork seal. And actually how you get at all the other innards to replace those two if you want. It's a wicked easy job, so it's not that hard. And then now all we're gonna do is I'm gonna put my cartridge back in, fill it up with oil, throw it back on the bike, and I'm done. But that is the point of this video, is to teach you guys or show you guys how to do that. It's super, super simple. No problem. Alrighty guys, that's it. I hope that was helpful. Hope it was useful. All that good stuff. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe, like stuff. And we'll see you in the next video. Y'all be safe. Y'all be kind to one another. And most of all, peace.